too far to the right, and I just let it go there. John.
Good morning, Captain.
Good morning, General. Yeah. It's good to see you again. So
no upper rank here. That's the rank.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Well, you're an NCO. You're a good NCO.
Yeah.
All right.
I've been a buck private for a long time.
Don't mention the war, John.
No.
Don't mention the war.
I won't do that.
Okay. So the open door, that's what I want to broach first.
Okay.
In 5 lessons, Hogan said, I'm not going to show a child an open door and say, see, there it is. I'm going to show the child how to open a door. So my theme for what I want to start off today, because last time we sort of covered off what I would call the end game, and we did that in a very, I demonstrated what I would call the end game, and I'll just recap that here. The end game is sort of where I would like people to think they could take this if they understood the fundamentals, and so that they could have a simple mantra for their swing, which was just that they get the apex away from them, they get away from the apex, and if they sustain that in a sequence, apex away from them away from the apex, that they could just keep doing that and let the club swing. And I know that that sounds overly simple, but that's the end game, because that's all you really have to do if you understand what that creates. Just like if I know that I turn a knob on a door and push it, I know I open the door. That's not complicated. But there are also thousands of things I could do. I could walk up to a closed door and try and push the door open without turning the handle, and it's not going to budge, is it? You're like, well, open. I could stand back and command it, open. It's not going to open.
Open sesame.
Right? Open sesame, right? It's not going to happen. But if I turn the handle and push it open, it opens. And that's kind of what last time we covered. So now we're going to get into a little bit more detail, because we're going to help you. And last time, I'll recap what we did with you. We sort of took you into a very uncomfortable environment, let's face it, for you, very much closer to the ball, right, with a different arrangement to the target and the ball, very different arrangement, but you know, you handled it well. By the end of the lesson, you hit some real good shots that I'd say were better, an improvement. And so today we want to take that and take it into the stratosphere, I think. And the way we're going to do that is that I want to amend Hogan's treatise on just opening a door and say, first you have to have a good door there to begin with. You know, you have to construct the frame. You have to hang the door, right, so that it's sitting there ready to be opened. You actually have to do all of that. In golf, in tennis, right, if I go up to serve, there's a line and there's a net and there's a box that I serve it into, and I go up to the line and I know I can serve it over the net into the box. It's pretty clear. In golf, that's not the same like it is in tennis. In tennis, the line and the net and the box are always the same. It doesn't matter even if it's grass or clay, it's still the same. In golf, everything changes all the time, and we don't have any lines. So we have to create the environment. So before we open the door, which is, I would say, we're talking about the swing there, right? We're talking about the swing, and we talk about how to open the door, right? You have to build the door, the frame, you have to hang the door, and then you open the door.
Can I add to that?
Yes, please.
Every door that opens and closes within the confines of its frame.
Right.
It can't go anywhere else.
Well, I like that.
That's what I see in Martinez.
Well, I like that because, yes, you build a specific frame for a specific shot, and then you open the door to that shot. Now, that's getting a little bit esoteric, but I love that. I love that. What you said is not. What I said is a bit esoteric, but I think that's fantastic. So,
but the frame, the point I'm making is the framework. When I see Martin swing the golf club, he looks like he's got two door frames either side of his body, and he's always within the frame.
Right, yeah, okay, I got you.
Within the frame.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm certainly not trying to I'm not trying to move out. I'm not trying to move outside of where I am, that's for sure. Any movement that you see is in response to the club swinging around me. So,
and that's what's infected me.
Right.
Because with the traditional golf swing, every swing I've ever been exposed to, this is the basic, tenet of the framework, but I'm always outside it, away from it, and then I've got to get back in it. When I see you, Marty, it's almost like the club's always in here within the confinement. It's contained within the door frame.
Right. Well, that is what we're trying to do in essence. Right. Well, that's good. So, it's good that it certainly feels like that, and the fact that it looks like that to you is good. So we take this idea and we say, okay, the reason I bring up this building the door frame is that in our last lesson, at the end of I first showed what I thought the end game was that people could attain if they apply these principles. Then we had a bit of a go with you, and I, for example, I threw a ball out here and I said, okay, John, I want you to stay in here as you look at that ball and rotate away from that ball. So that's a big part of you building that particular frame so that we can open the door within that frame, okay? Yeah. So we sort of touched on some of these things, but today what I hope to do is just go into more detail about how to build what you need within the framework of these fundamentals with this drag, so that you can have a swing that's, well, people say use the phrase repeatable, right? You want a repeatable swing. You want a consistent swing. Well, I think of it this way: you want a predictable swing.
Yeah, predictable is the
predictable.
Word. Predictable is right. You can have a repeatable swing, and it can be repeatably awful.
Right. We want a predictable swing. If we can predict what our swing's going to do, then we'll know that with that target over there, I'm just going to crack one here, with that target over there with those trees, with a predictable action, I know that if I go here, right here, I can hit it at that tree. Missed by that much.
Yeah, I know. You've got to lift your game.
I know, it's terrible. So, but the idea there...
It's target lock, isn't it, really?
Well, it is, but it's like if you know what's coming. So as far as, for me, there is nothing I care about during the motion. I'm sustaining my frame is a way to look at it. I know the door's going to open because as a matter of course, I'm grasping the handle and pushing the door. I'm grasping the handle and pushing the door. I'm grasping the handle and pushing the door. So I grasp the handle and push the door. Okay? That's going back a little bit of a throwback to last time.
Yep.
So, again, that was the end game. I felt it would be useful for you to know what that end game is, because hopefully then we don't get bogged down, in minutiae trying to get to that place.
But what is really good there, and we've got this on video, I can tell you guys, that's Marty's first shot of the day. We've just hopped out of the buggy. You talk about predictability. You actually predicted in your own mind, because of the physicality feeling, that was happening. That's a perfect example of it. First hit. Predictable result.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, it's available.
Case closed.
Yes, it's available, and you have to... Here's what I suppose this is the last thing I'll say on this, in terms of extrapolating on Hogan's open door theory, is that it's quite specific, isn't it? When you go to open a door, often you'll push and the sign says pull, and you go, oh, I should have pulled, but you pushed. You couldn't open the door. You went the wrong way, right? So in other words, there is, even though opening a door is a doddle for most people, every now and then we screw it up, right? Because you walk up to a door and you push it and you're like, oh, pull. Okay, or whatever.
Even if it's got the sign.
Right, yeah, I know.
I do.
I know, yeah, well, you're not alone, right? Some people say right when they mean left, okay, it happens.
Yeah.
The point of that, yes, so the point of that is that basically it's very specific. Don't beat yourself up if you screw it up, right? You don't need to beat yourself up on account of you not doing it well. Rather, instead of saying, okay, I screwed that up, let me fix the mistake I made, I would say you're better off going, okay, well, that door was shit, and or I didn't open it properly. So on the next one, I'm going to construct a better door. And then once I construct the better door, I'm going to then open the door. So I turn the handle, open the door, turn the handle, open the door. And see, that was a lot better strike than the first one, the same direction. Yeah, yeah. So there was more emphasis there to me on the pressures, okay? So again, I didn't try to fix what wasn't perfect about the first one, which wasn't perfect, it was good. And that's the point I was trying to make there, is let's not try to constantly fix our mistakes, because the mistakes we make on the last one aren't even necessarily relevant on the next one. And I want to make this clear. Again, everything I'm saying here, I'm saying for a particular audience. It's really an audience of one. So I'm really trying to get this across to you mainly. But anybody else that's watching who really wants to own this and get good at golf and hit it like they really want to hit it, follow this along and it's available to you. But I'm not going to try to persuade you. I'm not going to try to beg you to do it. I don't really, if you don't want to do it, that's fine, right? I'm here to help you get across that particular hump that you've got, which is that, as we said, you've always gone the wrong way from the start, right? And that's all everybody's ever done. It's just gone the wrong way from the start. And then you think your body's a little bit tight. I think it's more given permission. Here's one last thing. I'll finish this off with the open door. If I go in the wrong direction, John, from the start, I can't keep going. Does that sound reasonable? As just general life thing, if I open a door and there's the open door in front of me and I don't go through it, I go the wrong way, I have to stop that and come back and go through the door, correct? Well, in the golf swing, there's a direction that if you go in that direction, you can keep going. And that's where we're going to get to today with you. I'm going to get you to build it in such a way and begin it in such a way that you can start in that way, and once you start in that way, you can keep going in that way. And never slow down, never speed up, just keep going.
That's a perfect example of just keeping going.
Right.
It really is.
Perfect.
And I'm becoming infected by the look of that keeping going process, which is going to help me. I mean, the infection of the look is important.
Yeah.
But once you give me the actual crux of the mechanics, it's
yes.
just going to be a weapon.
Well, we had a discussion last time I was here, and when I was demonstrating last time, I got a bit quick often, because I'm really trying to show, the opposition pressures and so on, but I've decided to come down here today and just stay within my normal tempo, so that like you say, I'm not speeding this up.
No.
Right? So here it is, it's just in a little bit different view. I'll go over here. There'll be no speeding up from there. I'm going to stay in that sequence right there, and I don't have to change direction. If I stay in this sequence in this direction, I can produce the action. Okay?
Well, that's three really almost, for me, visually identical golf swings, and
right.
The process is identical.
Yeah.
Like sequentially identical.
Yes. And that's, like, again, what I'm trying to offer a very broad range of people is some fundamental ways that they can approach golf to be more athletic, more predictable, and more powerful for that matter, and more precise, all of that. What you do with that, that's fine, you know, up to you. How dedicated do you want to get? I don't care. Like, you don't have to be dedicated, just go play once every fortnight, I don't care. But you can still apply these things once a fortnight. Okay?
Yeah.